Welcome back to another episode of OMZ Under the Hammer. Today I'm in Farnham and I'm joined with Stuart. Stuart is the owner of quite a large loft conversion business in this area here. And today we're going to get to have a look at a couple of his commercial to residential conversion projects. So, nice to meet you, Stuart.
You too, yeah,
Thanks for showing us round. You can see here behind we've got this lovely commercial building that you bought.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about the project?
Yeah, absolutely. So we acquired this one end of August in 2023.
Yeah.
We started work literally straight away because it already had permitted development rights that we bought it. We're 8 months in. We should be completely finished and hopefully refinance within 9 months.
Excellent.
And we're coming right to the end of the stages. So look showing you around.
Right, let me ask you a couple of questions then. So 7 flats.
Yep, 7 flats.
All under PD.
They were under PD.
Yeah.
There were 4 1-bedrooms and 3 2-bedrooms when we acquired it. And then by looking at the design and by altering the design, we managed to get 7 2-beds. So it's quite a clever little move, which I'll show you inside what we've done there to sort of up the GDV.
That's fantastic. And how much did you buy the building for?
So we bought the building off another developer, which we both know. That's we know each other, for 1.3 million.
Okay.
We're looking to spend, we've spent just under 700 grand, but we've done a new re-roof and a full new bank of windows. So we spent a little bit more than we wanted. Got about 100 grand's worth of finance costs. So we're in for just under 2.1.
Okay.
And we're hoping that we're going to get about 400 to 425 a flat.
Yeah.
So it should GDV at about 2.8 to 3 million, somewhere around there. So we should be all money out in the next few weeks.
Fantastic. And you've got another project that we're going to look at as well, which is not too far from here.
Yes.
And what are the numbers on that project?
So that one was an old bank, an old Barclays bank that we acquired. We acquired it only a month ago, but we changed a year ago, so we've done a delayed completion.
Right.
And on that, we're looking at GDV in that for about 4 million, which is 18 flats and a new office.
Right.
So that's
2 projects on the go.
Yep.
25 flats across both of them.
Yep.
And GDV of roughly 7 million.
About 7, yeah.
Yeah, exciting stuff, isn't it?
It's
amazing.
It's
and these are your first commercial to resi projects?
No, we've done some previous ones, but now we've done a 9-unit scheme. Yeah. This was a 7-unit scheme, which we actually decided to buy because it was a bit of a filler while we were waiting for the other bank to kick off.
Yeah.
So we basically done this one just to keep us busy up until last month when we started that one. So
excellent. Okay, guys, look, we're going to go inside now because as you can tell from behind, the weather's absolutely shocking today. And I'm going to ask Stuart some questions that I think you guys will get some really good value from. If you're liking this video, if you could just hit the like button. Any questions that you've got, pop them in the comment section below and subscribe and stay tuned right to the end. You'll get some really good value from this video. Perfect. So we're inside now and this is one of the 2-bedroom flats.
Yep, so this is flat 7, which is the last one on the scheme. And the reason it's flat 7 is because the fire brigade have listed them in a certain order in case of an emergency. So this was flat 1 on our original scheme, but now it's flat 7.
So all the other flats are pretty much done. This is the last one that you're finishing off.
Yeah, this was our storage room, canteen, cafe, all the way to the end. And now we're just sort of running out of space, trying to clear site. So the guys are here to second fixing, ready for the decorators to finish this next week, which is the last one to do.
Perfect. I really appreciate you letting us look around here.
Yeah, no worries.
So I've got some questions that I've written down on my phone and I'd like to just whiz through them with you to try and give the viewers the best possible value for those people that are perhaps looking to get into commercial to residential conversions or just generally getting into property and looking at what are the different things that they can do. There's so much education out there. And one of the things I find is that a lot of it is overpriced and under-delivers. And that's the reason for sort of doing these YouTube videos, is showing people that are actually doing perhaps what you want to do as the people watching this video. So questions I've got for you, Stuart.
Yep.
First of all, can you just tell me briefly about Sky Lofts? So I know that you've been building this loft conversion business. I know that you still own that. Can you just tell me a little bit about what you do at Sky Lofts and how that business is going at the moment?
Yeah, fine. So, I've been doing loft conversions for residential houses for 22 years now. Left school, went to college, done a 2-year H&D in construction, and then fell into lofts due to my cousin, who I still work with to this day. So I've been doing lofts for many years. Love what we do, but up until COVID, there was a point where we were trying to build the first national loft conversion company, and then when COVID hit, it allowed us to pivot and take some time off and actually go, what do we want to achieve out of the next 20 years of our career as a company? And we've got a lot of skill sets. We've got 2 in-house architects, we've got a fantastic sort of operational team, good set of accountants. We've got all this data about what things cost, and we project manage a lot of that stuff. And when COVID hit, it was a chance for us to pivot into some HMOs, and then very quickly we realised that we don't want to have 200 HMOs and having 200 mortgages and 200 insurances. So we decided to start looking at commercial to resi. And they don't come with as much cash flow as you get from a HMO, but the yield long term with the capital appreciation of these buildings will be worth a lot more in 10 years than they are today. So we decided to buy them, and we're on, like I said, on our third sort of main big scheme now.
So is it fair to say that you're trying to pivot from the loft conversion business into property development, or would you say you're trying to build them both simultaneously, or because you said you were going to build a national loft conversion business, but has the plan changed now? You're more focused. Yeah.
Massively.
So for the purpose of viewers, people that want to get into property development, what's the reason that you've pivoted?
Well, because we've got a good team internally, we're leveraging all that skill set to build these out. So what we'll do is we'll still sustain Sky Lofts because we've got a great name, we've got a good reputation locally, we've got loads of reviews online, and we will keep that going. But rather than trying to go to 150 to 200 lofts a year, we'll maintain the sort of 50, 60 lofts a year, keep that local, and then use the surplus time we've got to start building these up on the side. So we're sort of using the strengths of that company to help us build this company, and that goes with our contractors as well. Like we work with about 70 contractors, all local, all great guys. And we just basically can bring them off the residential stuff into the commercial stuff as and when we need them. So it means we can build faster, obviously with borrowing costs.
So you essentially are using Sky Lofts massively to your advantage as a synergy business that complements your property development.
100%.
Because you've got the plumbers, you've got the roofers, you've got the carpenters, they all are CIS subcontractors for Sky Lofts already.
Yep.
And you literally say, move over here, fit this kitchen, do that skirting, install this, and it's seamless because you're already doing that in your loft conversion business. Although it's slightly different because doing a hip to gable loft conversion is very much a tick box, 6 week process, for example. And doing this is a much longer process with a bigger schedule of works and lots more materials and lots more subbies doing things.
Yep.
But do you feel like that it's been quite a good transition, an easy transition for you, or would you say it's been a difficult transition to start doing commercial to resi?
The reason we're doing these size schemes before we start looking at bigger stuff is to get all those processes lined up. We've still got the same plasterers, electricians, roofers. We are growing that team, and we can actually trial them on our commercial stuff before we put them into residential houses as well. So it works both ways. But ultimately, to plaster wall, to work with the electrical and have the mechanical and M&E drawings done and prepared internally, all complement each other. So yes, I definitely would. It took me 10 years to build the confidence to start my own loft company. It took me 10 years of running a loft company to start my own commercial stuff. And it will take another 10 years of all the lessons learned to go on to bigger stuff. So it's definitely a slow game, but it absolutely helps and complements. They both complement each other, I would say.
So you're quite confident really in what you're doing. And one of the things I find for a lot of people that are looking to get started in property development, or perhaps started but they're doing basic house refurbs, little extensions, maybe HMO conversions, but they can't seem to scale up into property development, certainly not ground up development, is just the confidence of feeling like they don't understand the process. And that is one of the biggest advantages, is that if you understand construction, you've got that already going on, that you can quite seamlessly transition. So really good, really interesting.
The commercial bit, the construction part is actually the biggest risk of the whole pie.
Yeah, you're right.
I think you can spend some time really working on the pre-planning stuff and making sure you get all your discharge and conditions sorted out and understand Class MA. But the biggest risk of any development is the builder. And if you can control as many of that or package it up and have relationships with individual trades, you're going to have a much better of a fighting chance to have a successful project, is what I'd say.
Guys, we're actually going to come back to this project and to Stuart's other project a little bit later on down the line when they're completely finished. And one of the things that I thought would be really useful if you're watching the video is if you've got questions that we're not answering today, just pop them in the comment section below. We'll read all of those questions, and when we come back and do the next video, we'll actually address all your questions and answer them. So pop your questions in the comment section below. So Stuart, a couple more questions for you then. And you've answered some of these already about the transitioning and what you're doing with Sky Lofts. But if I could ask you about the sort of biggest learning curves or the biggest hurdles that you've faced so far on just solely on this project, and we'll talk about the other project after, but what would you say the biggest hurdles are? Let's start with that you faced so far in taking this one on.
I would definitely say it's more the stuff that's outside of our control, so third-party consultant costs, anything that the council need, all the extra time to sort of discharge any conditions or to approve the tile we're using on the roof, because we actually thought, if we're going to do solar panels everywhere, let's do a re-roof. So these are costs that we can control, but we sort of make decisions. So like the windows, for instance, we put 100 grand or just under 100 grand worth of windows in here because we made a decision of, do we keep the existing window, spend some time decorating the windows that are, 100 years old? Do we then risk the cords in the windows going? So obviously tenants move in and then a year later they've been hammering on the windows and now we're working around people's stuff, changing windows and doing them ad hoc. Or do we just bite the bullet and do everything in one hit?
Yeah.
So these are the
So was that a budgeted cost? When you bought this building, did you know about spending 100 grand on because it's listed, right? It's got an external listing on the facade.
Conservation, not listed,
right, okay.
but we have to keep the timber look.
Yeah.
We did budget for some time to spend decorating them and
But
sort of filling them in.
not 100 grand.
And secondary glazing.
Right.
But if we're trying to get a premium for these flats, would I have walked in here and gone, these are the top end value with secondary glazing and shitty old windows that have been painted?
Right, so windows, that's an unexpected cost. What, any other hurdles?
Yeah, the water electrics. So we knew on the plan where the water electrics were, which is on the other side of the road.
Right.
What we didn't allow for is the delay in the time. So they charged us about 10 grand more to do an overnight permit, so we can bring the pipes and cables from one side to the other. We've got a date booked in now, but that's taken almost 7 months to sort out.
Yeah.
And it's taken us 9 months to build the whole thing. So,
So from the delay that you've experienced there, would you do anything differently on this particular site? Would you have started that process earlier? Or were you quite happy when you started it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not delayed us months and months and months. I think that we would have got on with that slightly earlier. I think, as soon as we had the exchange done on this site, I think I would have then pushed the button rather than waiting until we're sort of a 3 weeks in going, right, we need to start thinking about this stuff. It's the same with every development, and sometimes you can get them sorted in 6 weeks. Sometimes it takes
you
6
just
months.
don't know, do you? That's one of the things. So new electric supply, three phase supply, or is it single phase coming in? Or
so this one is actually with the front door is its own independent flat. The other two flats, 1 to 6, go up through the side entrance.
Yeah.
So we use the existing 3 phase to run this one.
Yes.
This is all electric.
Yeah.
And then the others we had to put a new connection, which is going underneath the side entrance and into the understairs cupboard.
And there's no gas in this building, is there?
No, we disconnect that.
Disconnected the gas. And in terms of your energy efficiency, obviously you've changed all the windows, you're doing everything electric, you've put the solar panels on.
Internal insulation.
Everything's been insulated,
Everything
25mm back plasterboard insulated walls.
Yep, correct.
You've skimmed everything. And then, do you know what your EPC ratings are going to come?
40 mil, I think.
Oh,
It's 40
wow.
mil, yeah. We've
Bloody
gone slightly higher.
This is the loft conversion expert here now, because that's you just absolutely, you're used to doing that and going over joists and all the things that you do.
I think it's even thicker. I think it's 70 mil on the inside. I'll have to check with Will.
Did you not lose quite a lot of the room?
We had 70 square metre flats, so we had the space to lose it, but we're trying to keep.
So what are your EPC ratings?
On this one, we're aiming for a C, I think.
They're only coming out of the C, even though you've done all of that. That seems because it's an old building, isn't it?
It's an old building, but I've just had 2 A-rated buildings on another site, which is the HMO, where we put batteries in, solar panels, air source heat pumps, and other floor heating everywhere. So they can be achieved, but with the HMOs, we want to lower the operational costs as much as possible to get maximum yield. So
perfect. Sure. Is it okay if we go and have a look at some of the flats that are a little bit more progressed in other part of the building? Is that
start on the ground floor and go up?
Yeah, perfect. That's amazing. Right, so we're upstairs in this commercial to residential conversion, 7 flats, all 2 bedrooms.
All 2 bedrooms.
And this one's absolutely fantastic. I really like this flat. The finish is really to a high standard, better than some of the other developers' properties that I've been to. And the attention to detail is quite important when you're renting property, when you're selling property. Can I ask you what your plan is on that? Are you planning to actually put these to the market and sell them? Or are you planning to retain them and rent them? Have you thought about that?
We're not using property development as a cash flow strategy. Sorry, as a capital raising strategy. We're trying to keep and hold these assets longer term, because we put so much energy and effort into them, and so much full process about PowerPoint, spotlights, how to create bomb-proof flats that are going to last 15 years without us having to think about them. So we want to hold these. If the market changes or we need to sell them in the future, but our investors are quite keen on investing with us for a 5 to 10 year plan. So our plan is to sort of get as much or all of their money out at the end, depending on the valuation, and then hold it and then enjoy the income, which we split between the shareholders.
It's quite an affluent area around here. You're in Surrey, and these flats are probably, what are they, 400 or 500 grand each? Are they?
We've done the numbers on about 400 to 425, but these are 70 square metres, very large high ceilings, to a nice spec. So we've not gone crazy. We've gone for Howden's kitchens, quartz, or I think it's Corian worktops. All the M&E, all the smokes and everything has been thought about for maintenance, and we've got like full video imagery of every single cable and pipe work, so we know if there's any problems long term. The emergencies and the maintenance of the building should be. So
plans to hold them and rent them. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
And do you know roughly what sort of rent you would get on these 2-bed flats?
Yeah, well, we've had a valuation done by our lettings manager. They think that we can comfortably get £2,000 a month. One's at the bottom with the 2 private gardens. We might be able to push slightly higher than that. So we're looking at about 14 grand a month coming in. Rent roll.
Oh, it's really good income coming in, isn't it? I mean, based on 2.8 million GDV. There's an argument that the yield is not that great, but ultimately there's capital appreciation, and it's the fact that you've not paid 2.8 million for this building.
Exactly.
The cost is much lower. So you're How far are you from, let's say, finishing that ground floor, which I know was a little bit further away, and you're waiting on water and electric, but when do you think it'll be finished and ready to go to the market?
Electric and water's going on the 14th to the 17th of April.
Yeah.
So we have got everything. We've got actually photos of these next week. So this will all be cleaned through now with our cleaners. And then we'll get some digital images done with the CGIs of all the finished furniture and everything done. And we're ready to start marketing. So I want these rented by the end of April. And I think the 7 flats we've got, they'll go within 2 weeks, easy.
I'm not sure if you put anything up for rent recently, but I know you won't have a problem with letting them because we have a broken rental sector in the UK.
Crazy.
And people are just getting into bidding wars and paying so much money to rent properties. And something that's of this standard with lovely herringbone floor, great colours that complement the room. So much light coming in from the lovely windows, all brand new windows. I know they cost you an absolute fortune, but it just really is a nice place. In fact, I quite like to rent one of these from you, only if you can do me a deal.
Absolutely. Well, you've also got mature gardens as well. So you've got all the trees. You've got a lovely hotel at the back, so it's nice and quiet. We've got obviously solar panels on the roof, so it's not a bad outlook. And to be honest, it's a very mature property. It's a beautiful looking building.
Yeah.
And
Stuart, you sold it to me. If you could just get that AST agreement out, I'm very happy to put a 5-week damage deposit down and secure it. Excellent. Right, I think that's probably enough for this property now, and we'd really like to just show the viewers the other 18 flat commercial to residential project that you've got going on, which I think is about 10 minutes away. Is it?
Yep.
So follow us on. We're going to go to the other project now and show you that. Stay tuned right to the end because there's lots more good information coming in this video, and we'll see you very shortly. Right, so we're at the second site that Stuart's showing us here today. This is another large commercial building that's being converted into residential. Stuart, can you talk us through this particular project, and for the viewers, if you can tell us how much you purchased it for, the process of acquiring it, and a little bit about it. I mean, as you can see from behind us, it is a monstrosity of a building.
Yep.
And I hate to think how much you spent on scaffolding as well, so we'd be really interested to know the cost of that.
Yep.
But yeah, if you can.
Absolutely.
A little bit about the numbers.
In the rain.
In the rain,
as possible. So we bought the building. It was an old bank. We paid 1.1 for it. Cut the pennies over. We're turning it into 18 flats and a new office, which we're going to be our headquarters over here because we've got all the parking, which is all part of the deal.
Amazing.
We bought it a year ago. Well, we actually exchanged a year ago on the proviso that we could check the foundations to make sure it could take another load.
Yeah.
And we had the time to get planning permission. So we exchanged basically a year ago last month. And then last month we completed on it. And now we're 4 weeks in. Obviously the rain's slowing us down a little bit.
So you've exchanged a year before.
Yep.
You've then had a delay completion for a whole year.
Yes.
So you put 10% deposit down, 110 grand roughly. Had a year to get planning.
Yep.
So you de-risked the project by getting the planning.
We had the pre-app done whilst we were going through the exchange process. So we had like 6 to 8 weeks to do all our searches, check the foundations. We instantly put a pre-app into the council to make sure they were going to be happy with the scheme. They wrote everything down, so we were quite happy to exchange and take that risk. But we also included that we could do a full strip out, not include any building works.
Right, so you had a key undertaking for works,
correct,
no structural works.
Yeah, and then we could start the job and borrow the money on day one and start work immediately.
So what's the size of the building?
It's about 10,500 square foot now with the new floor.
And what about, there's an extension going on here as well,
Just
right?
because the bit at the back's quite narrow, we decided that we would go 2 metres out, actually to keep the council happy. It gives us a better layout.
Right.
Gives us 5 flats per floor.
Yes.
And we pulled the side out only 2 metres, but we're going right up to the original building, and then we're going to continue this new loft, if you like, a mega loft, right over the top to the back part here. So, that's what
okay. So 1.1 purchase, delayed completion. You got the planning for the 18 flats, and these are all 37 square metre, 39 square metre. They're classed as studios, but for all intensive purposes, they are one beds, aren't they? They just meet minimum space standards. And are you planning to retain this building?
We are, yeah.
So you're going to retain it. So it's essentially commercial to resi, build to rent type scheme, and get them rented out.
Finance it, bring our money back out, and then hold it. And I'm actually going to buy the shop with my SAS at the end and use it as our sort of headquarters.
Amazing. Right, hope you're enjoying, guys. The main question I want to ask Stuart now. What was the cost of the scaffolding?
Scaffolding, I obviously work with scaffolders, and this scaffold relationship I've had it for 10 years. So he done me a deal, 25 grand is what he charged to get us up to. There's one more lift going on, and then we're ready for the flat roof.
Right, if I ever need scaffolding, you're the man I'm coming to
Give
now.
us a shout and I'll ring my contact.
Right, so should we go in?
Let's have a look, yeah.
So if you follow Stuart now, Stuart's going to talk a little bit about the project, so I'll let you follow him through into the building, and I'll start quizzing him as we go through on things that pop up into my mind.
So yeah, we're fully ordered. So we ordered the day we bought it to secure the parking. There's the extension which is coming out. We're going to use that part as a bike rack, so that's going to be our internal bikes. And the back here, we're walking into the bin cupboard. So at the rear here, the bin cupboard's going to come to about here. which gives us loads of space for all our services, all our meters, and for the commercial bins we need for the shop and for the flats above.
So this ground floor here is going to be an office, yeah?
Only a part of it. So
only just a part?
We've got these 2 windows here. One is for a living room, kitchen. One is for the bedroom. Bathroom is internal.
Yeah.
We're going to raise this floor about 150 mil so we can get all our services and everything underneath.
Yeah.
We've got another 1-bed flat which is in this space, and it's only got windows to the side. So we'll do the same trick as what we've done on the other scheme, which we never talked about, which is obscure the bottom, keep the tops clear, gives you the privacy and lots of natural light. And we've really oversized the windows on this scheme because they're UPVC. It's just going to make it absolutely flooded full of light. And,
amazing, yeah.
Makes it a bit cheaper because the brickwork, the blockwork, the rendering costs
so how cheaper. On this ground floor, how much commercial space will be left in terms of size? The size.
So we're going this section here where the stairs are. That's all coming out.
Yeah.
That's going to be the entrance of the new office, and we're coming almost to where the middle of this mound is, where this ring beam is at the back here.
Yeah.
This is going to have a kitchen, a disabled toilet access, and then one big open effectively office with like a glass sort of sound room.
Yeah.
Little seating area at the front. And this is going to be our entrance into the new flat. So we've got a new staircase coming up here.
Yeah.
So you'll see where the steels have been put in now.
Yes.
So we're now ready to cut the old concrete ceilings out.
I see.
We can put the new stairs up, and then these doors are for the front flat. So there's one flat there, one flat there, and there's one flat on this angle here.
So it's 3 flats.
3 flats on this
floor. 3 flats, 5, 5, 5. That's
Correct.
18 flats.
Yeah.
So this will be SW Homes head office and Sky Lofts, all in this building here. Right, and what I'll do is I'll make sure in the video, in the description below, I'm going to put the website for Sky Lofts. If anyone wants to get in touch and is in the Surrey area, you can check them out. But I'll also put details of Stuart in there if you want to get in touch with him, and also for SW Homes, which is a development firm, just in case any of the viewers want to reach out and ask questions. Yeah,
well,
should we go through?
Yeah, let's go through. We didn't pay for a tin hat. We just had like 3 days of like horrendous rain, because the tin hat would have cost another 25 grand.
Oh, I see.
Top. So because we're
sorry, just for the viewers, tin hat, you're talking
about
scaffold
tower over the top.
Corrugated.
Which is why it's raining indoors at the moment, which is not ideal. But yeah, this bit was added on because the bank used to have this as like a drive-in to get to the vault, which we removed. Yeah. This is all going to come out, it's going to be cut out, but we're just waiting on the engineers to give us the size of this steel so we can take this column out, and then we can put a new steel in, take this old staircase out. But for now, while we're waiting for the temporary staircase, this is our sort of main...
Sure, just a couple of quick questions while we're here. So, do you like converting banks? Is there a particular reason why you're looking at banks? Because I know you're looking at another bank over in Twickenham that you mentioned. Yeah. So what's the reason? Are you targeting them, or is it just that they are...
So. It's sort of organically coming, where banks are closing down quite quickly. In fact, there's another batch of banks that are coming out in the next few weeks that we'll get a good look at. And because I bought 2 off of the same contact, we own 3 banks, one in Windsor, overlooking the castle. We've got one in Twickenham, right on the corner of Twickenham, which is a real beautiful trophy type looking asset, which is 2 minutes from the train station. And this one, knowing Farnborough quite well, and the train station that's within half an hour to Waterloo, they make sense because they're built in the design. They're built in the town centres. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how wealthy you were and how privileged you were over the last 200 years, you couldn't get hold of these good-looking banks because they've just been owned by the banking system. So the fact that they're available now, and I think they're going to be more and more over the next 2-3 years, we're sort of building our systems to buy a few of these while they're available.
I mean, there seems to be a raft of these banks just shutting down relentlessly wherever you go. Locally to where I am, the bank that I bank with, they've shut down 4 or 5 branches all in the last couple of years.
Well, it's all digital now, right?
It's all going digital, and they're sort of keeping their flagship branches that they want. They're not shutting down all of them, but they're shutting down many. But actually, what's quite strange is what I've seen now, and I'm not sure if you've seen this, but you're starting to get lots of banks shutting down, but you're starting to get what's called banking hubs actually opening, which is where they're set up businesses, but you'll have one particular shop that used to be a bank, and on a Monday it'll be Barclays, on a Tuesday it'll be Santander, Wednesday NatWest, and so they're actually multiple banks all in one to keep the cost of council tax, business rates and all the other things down. So it's interesting how that's changing, but prime for someone like you to take a big building like this that's no longer needed by... Which bank was here before?
This is Barclays.
This is Barclays, yeah?
So this was the banking hall, and then you had upstairs was for like the meeting rooms and stuff, and above that was all...
And they just don't need it anymore, it's defunct.
It's all digital, I mean, it's not through my choice that banks are closing down, but these banks, if no one like us takes them on and wants to develop them, then you'll have this big, horrible concrete block in the middle of a town centre that's just going to look like this for many years. So, we might as well improve the lives of 18 more people who can live in the town centre. So.
Absolutely. It's really interesting. Right, let's go and have a look upstairs then.
So we're just walking up into someone's lounge.
Tin roof, really, shouldn't it? It's a bit wet on the floor here, but don't tell him I said that.
Was that?
I just said you should have got the tin roof. It wouldn't have been so wet.
I know exactly that. I know. But we've got 25 grand to do. Something to protect.
I'm only messing with you.
So we just walked up into someone else's lounge. So this is going to be the kitchen where the camera is, and then in here will be the sofa and the TV area. We've gone for nice big floor-to-ceiling windows, and we've oversized them to get lots of natural light into the space. This is the entrance of the flat is over here. This is the bedroom, one of the storage cupboards, the bathroom, and then the entrance to the flat is here. So we just sort of walked into their lounge. So
yes,
you know, it's 38 square meters. It meets minimum space standards. It's nice and bright, and it's been designed quite well. God, there is water coming in as well.
Yeah, there is, isn't there? Yeah, don't worry, it's all good.
This is one of the flat entrances into this flat.
Yeah.
The reason we laid these three out now was because it was a complete open space, which you'll see on the floor above. But what we wanted to do is get all the window alignments where we were happy with them.
Yeah.
And then we can sort of replicate that up the building and down the building, so we know that these flats work on this floor, and then we'll just replicate them up and down.
Yeah.
So,
sure, sorry, a couple of questions for you. I know I keep stopping you, but this was a full planning application, right?
Yep.
So this has not been done under PD. It's quite a large scheme, and I would imagine on that planning application there would have been a whole list of pre-commencement and post-commencement planning conditions. I think you mentioned 18.
There's 18 to discharge.
So a lot.
11 of them are pretty sound.
Yeah.
It's just like choose us the brick slips, choose the render.
Yeah, standard
let us
stuff.
the windows.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of
You
them
must
like traffic
commence within
management,
3 years, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
drainage.
So, drainage drawings. So what would you say, for the purpose of the viewers again, what would you say were, out of those conditions, what were the most problematic ones?
We've not really had huge problems with them. I mean, we had to have the traffic management because it's on a one-way system, so we had to put a plan together for that. We had to get the drainage sorted out. To be honest, I thought the drainage of the existing building, bearing in mind there was already like 12 toilets here, would be fine, but they wanted to make sure that you're not adding additional loads to the existing drainage system, so we've had to have a topo on that, get all those done before we can start work effectively.
Yeah.
So I would have moved that earlier in the process. We left that a bit late. We could have probably brought that forward 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Because once they say they're going to give you planning permission, you can obviously ask for the conditions
Yes.
and start discharging them earlier.
Yeah.
So that would be something I would do next time.
So you've done the strip out in between exchange and completion.
Yep.
You're now
And the vault
1 month
removal.
into completion.
Yeah.
There's walls up everywhere, MF, and you're moving forward quite quickly.
Yep.
When do you think this project will be fully done?
Well,
Like realistically.
Weather permitting,
Yeah.
9 months is what we're aiming for.
9 months.
That'll be
right.
up to like a PC where we can get the shop, get the office finished, have paint on the walls, carpets in, almost finished. Then we'll be looking at maybe 3 months of refinancing. So within 12 months, which is great for the borrowing costs.
So, 7 flats, 18 flats,
Yep.
2 projects, trying to buy another one.
Yeah.
How do you sleep at night and relax when you've got so much going on? Is it
a really good team?
Good team. And do you feel like running the loft conversion business and just having that all on the go at the same time? You're spinning plates constantly, aren't you? Do you feel like you manage that quite well, or are you struggling with it a bit? Or
Weather is the only thing I've got to contend with.
Yeah.
But if the weather's good to us, which is never in the UK, it rains every third day on average in the UK. But the loft systems are working well, and we've got enough customers, enough staff to make sure the customers have a good experience. Our trades can always do a slightly bit more, and they can always build their businesses a little bit bigger to support us.
Yeah.
So that's not too much of an issue. I've got a great build director on this site who's managing this on a day-to-day basis, so he takes
I was
a
just
lot
about
of
to
the
say,
headache.
you must have some good people around you.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
On this particular site now, how many people will, because there's not much going on right now, I think there's 5 or 6 men I saw downstairs.
Yep.
And I guess that's just because of weather and all sorts of things and waiting for certain things to be lined up. But how many people will you bring from your loft conversion business here to actually work on this over the next 9 months?
There'll be around 15, 16 people out of like 70. So we'll be using electricians, plumbers, roofers, and we'll bring them in when the time's right.
Right.
And we're going to bring on potentially a new decorating contractor who's going to come in with a bit of speed and get this done for us. We're getting a couple of quotes for some different renderers as well. Like we used our normal guys, but we want to maybe use someone slightly bigger. We can just come in and get it done and get paid and get off site. So I think probably about 16 will be on this job full time. We've got a team of like 8 on the roof, but they've been rained off literally this morning because of the weather. So another week of getting wrapped up, and we'll be in the dry.
Rental wise, they're smaller here, aren't they? They're 1 beds.
Yep.
But there's a huge demand for that
Massive,
type of. But do you have a rough idea what they might rent for?
12.50, £1,300 a month would be a sort of number that I will aim for. It's because the links to London are so good, and obviously it's town centre location. We've got 11 spaces downstairs, which we'll use a few of them for the office. We'll rent a few of them out for a bit of additional cost as well.
Yeah.
So we're looking at about 4 million for this, but in a year that should be about £1 million profit.
Amazing. Right, where should we go now? Do you want to show us around?
Quick look in here. So this is obviously another one of the flats entrance here. This is one of the bedrooms. They're about 3.5 square metres. This is one of the bathrooms, and then this becomes the living room kitchen. It's absolutely hammering, which I've not seen it like this because it wasn't as bad yesterday, but
Yeah.
we'll try and risk going upstairs and seeing the top
can
floor.
handle it, yeah.
If your camera can handle it.
Yeah.
Come through. So that was the reason why we designed them, was to get the windows in alignment. This is where our new staircase is ready to be cut. So we've drilled all the holes ready for that. We've got another flat which goes along this side here. This was an old staircase that we've taken out already and framed out. So,
Yeah.
this will become like the core corridor down with lobbies. And then this wall's coming out because this is the point at which that extension is going to line out to the edge of the building. So we're going to square this corner off and we get one flat in here and then we get one flat at the back. So
Yeah.
5 flats on each floor, valued at about 225, 200, 225 a flat.
But you're not planning to sell them anyway. It's all about the yield,
It's all about the yield, yeah. And it's a shit yield, but we've got buildings with no money in.
Is it a shit yield based on how much you're actually, if you look at the cost of acquisition, the cost of actually doing it, not the valuation, but if you're in for 3 million, it's the yield on 3 million that's quite important, isn't it?
We're in for zero because we've refinanced everything.
You're
So it's
pull
an
your money
infinite return on 3% of a building that we've got no money locked in. So we have got our equity left in the building. And the question is our equity better off put to work in another project, or do we leave the equity in, which is our profit?
Well, this is one of the most difficult things when you're doing commercial to resi and you're doing units which are not that saleable, I'd say. On your other scheme, 2-bedroom, nicely finished, 70 square metres, they're much more saleable, especially as some of them had little garden outdoor areas.
Yeah.
But 1-bed flats at
with no
37
outdoor
square,
space.
you put 18 of them on the market at the same time.
We would never do that.
You'll saturate the market and they're difficult to sell, I think. You will sell them, but the price is probably
You'd bleed them off and do 4 or 5 a year and rent some of them. But ultimately, we wouldn't sell that. We'd go to a family office or someone who wants to sort of lock cash in for cash flow and give them a yield on the whole building.
Yeah.
That would be the other alternative for us, rather than sell them singular.
Yeah.
But to be honest, we want to keep them. Our strategy is to keep them because we all know in 15 years' time these flats are going to be worth an awful lot more than what they are at today's money. So
what's the build cost here?
Build cost going to be, we're spending 1.1 on the building. We're going to spend about 1.5 million on the build. And then we've got about 200 grand's worth of borrowing costs.
So 10,000 square foot.
About 3 million.
You're going to be all in for 3 million, but your build cost is 1.5 million.
Yeah.
And your total size of the building is about 10,000 square foot, yeah?
10,300 square foot, I think it is.
But there are some extensions and you are adding another floor, and so there's quite a lot of complexity.
These floors here, these flats are really straightforward to build because it's concrete floors as well.
Yeah.
There's no sound, there's no fire to worry about. It's literally got the core to do. We put the metal work up and we've got electrics and plumbing in. So literally in 4 weeks' time, I'd expect the floor above and the loft floor to all be framed out. We've got electrics and plumbers in already.
I'm looking forward to coming back here when it's not raining and they're all finished and we're nice and dry. Actually,
and windows are in,
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, we've got the scaffolding.
Do you want to go upstairs?
Floor,
Yeah, should we have a look?
We are through this window. Up on there, up on there.
I know one of the viewers is going to comment, OMZ, you're not wearing steel toe cap boots. Well, I know I should be wearing them, but forgive me, okay?
Okay, so we're on the floor above now. So this one is what the floor below did look like when we first started.
Yeah.
You can see the building is just a perfect one to convert. It's a ring beam construction. All the pillars and stuff take all the load down.
Yeah.
It doesn't look huge up here when it's all open, but we've configured it around the post to make sure we can get the maximum amount of space out of this building. We obviously punched in all the new windows and done all the brickwork. And all the ceilings, all the rubble downstairs was the last of the ceilings that have all been kicked out now.
Yeah.
So we're ready to go. Really, got the stairs coming up there, and that back wall is what's being knocked out where we do the rear extension.
Yeah. So on the process of getting planning, I spoke when you look at this space, it doesn't look huge up here, but you are squeezing in 5 lovely 37 square metre flats that will rent really well.
Yeah.
So I suppose it's been designed in a way to try and get the maximum space out of this area that you've got here. Did you have any, when I look around, I'm just sort of thinking, did you have any constraints to get those 5 flats in from a planning perspective, an architectural design perspective?
So the council did have a policy, I think it's policy DE3 from memory, which basically said that when you go for 37 square metres and there's no outdoor amenity space, they want you to make the flats 5 square metres bigger, which had a big impact on this development. So when we were going through that pre-app stage, we said to them we could do the side extension out the back because that will make that a bit more less like a train carriage, so they're not too narrow with the kitchen and the living room. That was a thing that we had to come across. But I went to the council, we spoke to them and said, look, this is what we can, we're confined by the size. they did say to us we'd go up 2 or 3 floors more, which would be great because you think that would do better for the GDV, but with the risk of the foundations and the weight we would be adding versus the fact we're going up above 18 metres, so we'd have to put a secondary staircase in. Now, even if we designed it externally or internally, we're going to be losing one of the flats to per floor. So you've got to build another 2 or 3 floors to make it even worthwhile. We sort of removed that idea as an idea. Said let's just keep it standard, put 1 extra floor on, which we're going to have a quick look upstairs.
It's easier when you're doing a new build because you know what you're building, but when you've got an existing building like this, you're constrained by what foundations are already here.
Exactly, and
adding 1 floor, light form, it's all timber, isn't it, up there? And there's not a lot of steel and stuff. So, but you've got these 2 big beams here. This is all staying, isn't it?
It's all staying. It's all part of the structure.
You haven't done huge structural alterations. You're just building the flats around what's already here on this floor.
Exactly. I mean, our designers had to work to make sure that those got built into walls and cupboards, so you never know they're there. The only other thing to consider was where the staircase was positioned for fire regulations. So you've got to think about lobby doors and distances from the new staircase. So by putting the staircase up centrally meant that we could have everything sort of spanning off the one central position. So all that's got to be taken into account when you're looking at these buildings. But yeah, no, we're really happy with it so far.
Very good.
Upstairs.
Yeah, perfect.
So we're on the 3rd floor, which is what we've added. So yeah, we're 4 weeks in. You can see the guys have made massive progress. We were so close to getting the roof done before the weather turned on us. But we've used obviously the protective flooring, so this will be peeled up. But yeah, another 5 flats up here. So
this is easy for you up here. This is just another very large loft conversion.
Just a very large loft. Yeah, I've got 2 loft teams on it. They've sort of got themselves sort of 6 weeks in the schedule to come in and get all this wrapped up, get all the flat roof finished, and yeah, then we're ready. Once we're in the dry and the windows, we've got the windows ready to order as well now. So in the next sort of 2-3 weeks we'll get them here, and then we get rendering on the outside done. Then we can drop our scaffolding. So and once we're inside, then it's super quick.
Pretty amazing. Stuart, thank you so much for showing us round. I reckon 9 months is going to be tight. But if you can pull it off, it'd be fantastic. So guys, maybe we'll be back here in December. We might be back here in January next year.
We'll be back here in December.
And we'd love to come back and look at the finished project. If you don't mind having us, it'd be fantastic. So yeah, thank you so much, Stuart.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, nice.
Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Comment below any questions, and we'll see you in the next one.